Welcome to another installment of the Sunday Triple Threat video series here on OTRS Central. 3 assorted wrestling topics, 3 minutes or less, hopefully, where I just fire off the cuff about whatever the hell I want to talk about. If you've got a suggestion for a topic that you want me to discuss in a future Triple Threat video, let me know down in the comments section. I appreciate it. I always welcome that input. However, for now, let's get to the topics at hand this week. I'm going to talk about the Ascension. I'm going to talk about the firing angle on Raw, and I'm going to talk about TNA and their first show on Destination America. There was a lot of consternation, bitching and moaning about the Ascension's promo on Raw this week. And a lot of people seem to really take offense to the fact that they were mocking Demolition, they were mocking the Road Warriors. I saw Lance Storm apparently stormed off of social media and in particular away from his television set in protest because what they said about the Road Warriors was so fucking bad. Okay, let's get this straight first of all. To all these jackasses, especially jackasses like Lance Storm, do you not understand the concept of a heel promo? This was a heel promo. This is the type of heel promo that you would see a new team on the scene cut, talking about how the rest of these guys from the past don't matter, the future is now, and we are the fucking future. What's ridiculous about this is that at no point in time did they sit there and knock Hawk for being dead. Did they sit there and make fun of that in any way? They just sat there and said that these guys, what a rush, what a joke. That's a traditional heel promo. And what's even worse about this is somebody like Lance Storm has been in the business for years that is now training people to become a professional wrestler, clearly doesn't fucking get this, clearly doesn't understand this. You want to know why professional wrestling is in the fucking shape it's in? It's because of numbskulls like this. And their stupidity. They're teaching people, and all the while the teachers don't fucking get it. What should be pissing people off is the fact that this promo was fucking stupid. That's what the fuck it was. This was like Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn putting the needle in Triple H's back and sitting there and shitting once again on the NXT product. NXT is supposed to be the developmental territory. This is where you train these guys to come up to the main roster and potentially become big stars. You don't have them toil away at NXT and do something and get over here just so that way you can bring them up, do something entirely different with them, and fucking make a joke out of them and fucking bury them. I mean, my God, that promo that they had was brutal. It was almost Roman Reigns brutal. That's how bad it was. And instead of bringing these guys up as just a big powerhouse tag team and booking them as such, we make them a traditional dumb dick heel tag team. And then you've got the freaking commentators, in particular the alleged heel commentator in JBL, burying these fucking guys. How the hell is anybody supposed to get over in this type of fucking environment? Why are you sitting there and doing anything with these guys at NXT? Why do you even bother having NXT if you're just going to bring them up to the main roster, do something completely different with them, and fucking ruin them? If you're going to bitch about anything, bitch about that. Bitch about the right fucking thing. Bitch about the fact that Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn are single-handedly destroying the talents that come up from NXT and single-handedly ruining the fucking WWE product. That's what you should be bitching about, assholes! Typically, I don't like firing angles, especially when the WWE does them, because they just don't do them very well. And they've done them so often over the years that I've just grown tired of seeing them. However, this firing angle that they did on Raw on Monday just is a whole different level of stupidity to me and just makes absolutely no fucking sense. So let me get this straight. We're going to punish John Cena, the guy that captained the team that was going against Team Authority at Survivor Series, not by suspending him and not by firing him, but basically punishing everybody else and putting them through the gauntlet on the show and then firing them at the end of the night. So John Cena's big punishment in all of this is guilt. As is so often the case when it comes to the Cena character, there are no consequences, there are no repercussions, there's no accountability, and there's no attempt to create any type of real weakness with this guy. You're sitting there and you have the opportunity to do so many things, and as the gauntlet is dropped and you see Ryback and Rowan and Ziggler standing in the ring as they get the hammer thrown down on them that they get fired. You could sit there and do so many different things. You could have had with Cena there. You could have had him laugh and turn heel. I know, crazy, but hear me out. You could have sat there and had those three sit there and beat the shit out of Cena. You could have sat there and have John Cena do any number of different things other than just standing there looking like a fucking moron and sitting there and feeling guilty because that's my punishment and that's punishment enough. What I really don't get about this is why the WWE thought this was a good idea to do this angle so close to the Royal Rumble. Now, you've got Dolph Ziggler, the guy who won the match for Team Cena at Survivor Series, fired. You've got Eric Rowan, who you're not really sure what you're doing with. The crowd kind of likes him a little bit, so he needs to be on TV and maybe actually try and get some momentum build up, so we fire him. And then we take Ryback, another guy that we've just recently brought back that has momentum for his character that the crowd is getting behind, and we decide the best way to deal with this is by firing him. So either you're going to keep these guys off of TV for an extended period of time, or you're going to do what the WWE usually does, and you find a way to get them back on TV in 2 weeks and just basically have admitted that you've wasted our time once a fucking again. And all the while, you've missed a golden opportunity to do something different with Cena. For all the people that sit there and believe that a new year was going to bring a new WWE, I assure you, you're mistaken. It's just more of the same old stupid crap, in particular when it comes to the John Cena character. There are many different reasons not to like Cena. The single biggest reason why so many people don't is because the crap's always the same with him. It's always the same. So Impact Wrestling made its debut, its return to primetime cable television this week on TNA's new television home, Destination America. Have I watched the show yet? No. Am I going to? Probably not. I'm just being honest. One of the things, though, that I thought could potentially be a positive out of this from a TNA standpoint in terms of strictly from an on-screen product was the fact that without the pressure of having to worry about the television ratings and dealing with Spike TV, that they could focus more on building things out for the long term. They could worry about quality storytelling and developing characters and doing a lot of the things that they so often threw under the bus all of their years with doing business with Spike TV. Most importantly of all is just the fact that they weren't going to be focused on that rating point that would come in every Friday afternoon. Because that was no way to run a business, and that was no way to ever accomplish anything, and that's ultimately why TNA didn't accomplish a lot of anything during their entire television deal with Spike TV. So now we get their show on Destination America, knowing that the audience for this show from Jump Street, unless you're a complete TNA moron, was going to be significantly smaller. You're talking about the amount of households that they reach is much less than what Spike TV does. Furthermore, on top of that, you're talking about a Destination America that is a part of a premium package for cable and satellite subscribers. So you know from the jump that you're potentially looking at a third to a quarter of the previous television audience that you had on Spike TV. You knew that going in. You knew that when you signed the freaking television deal. You knew it could have major significant changes to TNA and the product and everything else. But at least you were going to have a network that was going to be bought into you. At least you were going to have a network that wanted to do business with you and was going to make you a featured part of whatever they were doing, even if it was going to be on a much smaller scale. So I have to admit, when I see reports this weekend talking about TNA's frustrated and pissed off about the fact that the ratings have been released online for this, I'm just at a loss. What does it matter? Anybody with a brain should have been able to logically figure out that the audience for this show was going to be significantly smaller on television. That was just going to be the nature of the beast. Furthermore, why would we sit there and be so worried about this, knowing that the rating from the jump was going to be significantly lower? That's why you signed with the network, knowing that that wasn't going to be a huge concern in part, and the fact you just needed somewhere to go. Why are we so worried about this now? What does it matter? That information was going to get out there. That information always got out there when you were dealing with Spike TV. Do you think it's going to look bad when people see that instead of 1 or 1.1 million viewers watching your show, there were maybe 300, 350,000? Well, again, anybody with a brain would have been able to figure that out. Part of the thing with going to Destination America to me for TNA was a chance to totally reboot and change everything that they did. because everything that they did led them to that spot where they had to go to a Destination America to begin with. They could focus maybe more so on doing the right things that they hadn't done before, being more counterculture, and reaching out to a different type of wrestling fan. But if they're ultimately going to have this whole focus again, just be on the ratings, and then on top of that being pissed off that the number of viewers got released on the internet, then that shows me that nothing's changed with TNA. And that's a shame. And it's a significant problem. What is the point of going to a different network and on the one hand trying to reboot and relaunch your brand if you're going to be focused about the same shit from the past and the same shit that frankly created a lot of the problems that you had on your previous network home? Focus on putting on a good show. Fuck the rating. Tell me what you think. Do you think the Ascension's promo was offensive or just plain stupid? Do you think this firing angle is just more of the same old crap, or are you actually curious to see how this all plays out? Now, what do you think about TNA being reportedly angry about the number of viewers for this week's Impact show on Destination America being released? Do you think they have a right to be pissed off, a right to be concerned? Or do you think that this is just another example of the same old crap with them and that their focus is in the wrong place? Let me know all of that and give me your ideas as well, again, for future Triple Threat video topics in the comments section down below.